This is the official Eminem Iceberg. Eminem is easily one of the most awe-inspiring and interesting rappers who has ever touched the mic, with many considering him as the greatest rapper of all time. But just how much is there to know about Eminem? Well, hopefully, I can answer that for you today, as today we are going to be covering the Eminem Iceberg. By the end of this video, you will know what every single entry on this iceberg means. So a couple of things before we start. Don't feel like you have to watch the whole thing in one sitting, as I do have timestamps in the description for whenever you need to come back. And I already know people are going to argue about some of the placement of stuff on this list, but I tried my best. And I know there are other Eminem icebergs out there, but I've been working on this video for a few months, and the only reason I didn't get it out sooner was some health issues. So yeah, I guess that's what I get for being sick. And lastly, I think it's important to note that I will be saying the word unaliving a lot, and that's because you can't really say other words for unaliving on YouTube anymore, but that's solely so this video will stay up. But yeah, that's enough talking, so let's get started with the official Eminem Iceberg. Studio albums. As of the recording of this video, Eminem has sold over 200 million records worldwide. Eminem has 12 studio albums, and if you add his 2 albums with D12, his album with Royce da 5'9", and a handful of soundtracks and collaboration projects, you get 20 studio albums. This also includes 3 albums which were certified diamond: the Marshall Mathers LP, The Eminem Show, and Curtain Call: The Hits. Shady Records. Shady Records is a record label founded by Eminem alongside his manager Paul Rosenberg in 1999. The two serve as presidents and have included several notable acts such as 50 Cent, Yellow Wolf, and D12 amongst others. The label is owned by Universal Music Group. Slim Shady. Slim Shady is Eminem's alter ego. He's supposed to be the evil side of Eminem and was created very early in Eminem's career. Slim Shady is heard on most Eminem albums and is signified by his bleach blonde hair. Kim Mathers. Kimberly Ann Scott is Eminem's ex-wife and the mother of Eminem's only biological daughter, Haley. The pair got married in June of 1999 and divorced only a year and a half later in October of 2001. The two actually remarried in January of 2006, only to file for divorce one more time in April of the same year. Eminem has talked about Kim in plenty of songs, including the incredibly graphic Kim. I'm not going to delve deeper into her here because we are going to talk about her much more as we go deeper on this iceberg. MGK beef. Machine Gun Kelly is a rapper who Eminem found himself beefing with just a few years ago. This is arguably Eminem's most well-known beef and goes back 10 years. It's said to have started when MGK tweeted about Eminem's daughter in 2012, stating she's, quote, hot as fuck. This led to MGK feeling as if he was blacklisted from Shade 45, and eventually dropped a few bars seemingly aimed at Eminem on his track with Tech 9, No Reason. Eminem would then call out Kelly on his Kamikaze album on the track Not Alike, which led to MGK releasing Rap Devil, a nearly 5-minute long diss track aimed at Eminem. Eminem would then address this diss in an interview with Sway Calloway, before releasing his official response track only 2 days later. Kill Shot was a 4-minute long diss track responding to Kelly, and even broke the YouTube record for most hits in the first 24 hours of an upload, with over 38 million views. This beef has been one of the most debated beefs in recent history of rap, but since then, the beef has seemed to have settled, but you never know what the future could bring. D12. D12 is a rap group consisting of several Detroit local rappers: Eminem, Proof, Bizarre, Mr. Porter, Kaniva, and Swifty McFay. The group started with Proof, who was a highly respected Detroit MC, and it was actually at this time that Eminem was beginning to blow up himself. He was still affiliated with the group, but he was not an official member as of yet. Proof started to recruit new members, to which he recruited Bizarre, Danon, Kaniva, Swifty, and MC Bugs. The group found little bits of success, however in 1999, MC Bugs was unalived, which left a hole in the group. At this point, Eminem volunteered to join the group to fill the hole. Each member of D12 had an alter ego, ultimately meaning that the group had 12 members. The group then started to pop off, releasing their debut album Devil's Night in 2001, and their follow-up album D12 World in 2004. However, it's fair to say that Eminem's success began to outshine the group, leaving them touring and doing features without Slim Shady. Despite this, the group had notable tours and features despite Eminem's absence. Sadly though, the group as we know it would come to an end in 2006, following the unaliving of Proof, who was considered the true lead singer of the band. After this, D12 would release several mixtapes to try and recapture the spark they once had, but D12 would never reach the same place they once were at. Finally, in 2018, Eminem released the track Stepping Stone, which was included on the Kamikaze album, in which he addressed the members of D12, apologizing and ultimately announcing that D12 was officially over. Bad Meets Evil. Bad Meets Evil is the name given to the duo of Eminem and Royce da 5'9". The duo formed in 1998 and created only a handful of songs together before breaking up in 2002. This would lead to the two of them beefing with one another over the next few years. It wasn't until 2011 that the duo would squash their beef and reform Bad Meets Evil, releasing Hell the Sequel, the EP, which debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 chart. Together, they've created plenty of hard tracks, with Royce da 5'9" matching Eminem's style almost to a T, and the two still create music together to this very day, and arguably, it's some of Eminem's best collaborative work. Haley. Haley Jade Scott Mathers is Eminem's only biological daughter. Born to Eminem and Kim Mathers on December 25, 1995, she was the topic of plenty of early Eminem songs. She's been referenced more times than you could count, and even featured on the track My Dad's Gone Crazy. She's relatively private, but she does have a public Instagram and TikTok account, and more recently, she hosts the Just a Little Shady podcast. On the podcast, she describes life as the daughter of one of the world's biggest rappers, and just like her mother, we will talk about her more as this list goes on. Debbie Nelson Mathers. Debbie Nelson Mathers is the mother of Eminem. After giving birth to Eminem in her teens, her husband abandoned them at a very early age. Debbie struggled to make ends meet for her family and suffered from both mental illness and drug issues throughout Eminem's childhood. She's been referenced in plenty of Eminem songs and was the topic of Cleaning Out My Closet. It seems though in recent years the two have been able to come to terms with their relationship, as addressed in his song Headlights from the Marshall Mathers LP 2. While the two are still said to be estranged from one another, it's said that she's still alive and pushing. Mom Spaghetti. Mom Spaghetti is the most recognizable Eminem meme, and if you've ever looked into Eminem, you've most likely heard of Mom Spaghetti. It comes from the track Lose Yourself, where Eminem raps the infamous line, "There's vomit on his sweater already, Mom Spaghetti." This meme, like all others, started on 4chan. The meme has since spread online and is basically just a shitpost at this point. Eminem has since embraced the meme, and in 2021, he opened up an official restaurant named Mom's Spaghetti. The restaurant serves spaghetti and meatballs only, and is actually said to be quite successful. Insane Clown Posse beef. Eminem's beef with the Detroit-based Insane Clown Posse is another one of his most well-known, starting way before Eminem found mainstream success. Eminem was actually a fan of the Insane Clowns, Violent J, and Shaggy 2 Dope, and included their name on a poster for the record release party for the Slim Shady EP. Later, while handing out flyers, Eminem saw ICP and approached them. He gave them a flyer, and once Violent J saw their name included, he basically said they shouldn't just put their name on the flyer like that without asking. He crumpled up the flyer and walked away. This would cause a many year-long battle between Eminem and ICP. Eminem was obviously offended by them brushing him off, and started to diss ICP in interviews, as well in songs such as Till Hell Freezes Over, with the line, "Fuck ICP, buy my CD." In response to this, ICP would create a parody of My Name Is, titled Slim Anus, which was rapper Jamie Madrox of Twisted doing an impression of Eminem, rapping bars which basically made Eminem out to be a homosexual. According to Violent J of ICP, a local radio station actually played Slim Anus for Eminem during one of his interviews. Eminem was pissed off, and upon the release of the Marshall Mathers LP, he would respond with 2 separate tracks to ICP. The first track was a skit of Ken Kniff receiving oral relief from both Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope. The other was about half a verse on the track Marshall Mathers, where Eminem disses the duo really hard, and even claims to have chased them out of a club and even shot paintballs at their getaway vehicle. Later that year, Eminem pulled a gun on an ICP associate. Eminem continued bashing the clowns on the Up in Smoke tour, regularly bringing out 2 blow-up dolls dressed as ICP. ICP would finally respond that same year several times throughout their double album Bizarre Bizarre, with the tracks Cherry Pie, My Homie Baby Mama, and Please Don't Hate Me, the last of which is a 3-minute long track of Violent J confessing to his friend that he had sexual intercourse with their mother, when at the finale of the track, it's revealed that he was actually talking to Eminem the entire time. ICP and Eminem would diss each other a few more times before the feud was ended in 2005 by none other than Eminem's best friend Proof. According to ICP, Proof was on a mission to squash all of Eminem's past beefs, which ended with D12 and ICP bowling against one another. ICP stated that Eminem wasn't there, however it didn't matter since Proof squashing the beef was enough. Ever since, they both seem to have respect for one another, with Eminem shouting them out 3 times in the Marshall Mathers LP 2, and even ICP making an appearance on Shade 45 in 2017. It's good to see that rappers can move forward past some high school-esque level beef. Also, whoop whoop to my fellow Juggalo family. Steve Berman. Steve Berman is a real-world music executive high up at Interscope Records. Steve has made numerous appearances across Eminem projects. These appearances are skits simply titled Steve Berman, and are generally just Steve scolding Eminem in regards to the contents of his albums. Paul. Paul Rosenberg is another real-world person, this time Eminem's real-world manager, who is featured on all but 4 of Eminem's solo studio albums. His skits are usually voicemails to Eminem, instructing him on steps to take to stay out of trouble, and toning down the explicit materials on the albums. There are also a few skits of Eminem's voicemail responses to Paul. Paul was actually the former president of Def Jam before stepping down to form Goliath Records with Universal. Ja Rule beef. Eminem's beef with Ja Rule is another well-known beef, and is quite possibly his most popular beef, or at least it's tied with MGK. Ja Rule had a very publicized beef with 50 Cent, which saw both rappers even coming to blows a few times. Eminem inadvertently found himself in the middle of the beef when he signed 50 Cent to Shady Records. At this point, this made Ja decide to go after both Dre and M with the release of his diss track Loose Change. There's a lot more to this beef, however it gets much more in depth later on this iceberg, so stay tuned. The term stan. Stan is a term to describe the most dedicated fans to a certain artist or performer. So let's say I'm the world's most obsessed Billie Eilish fan. I would say, I stan Billie Eilish. Stan has become a well-recognized term which is commonly used, and the term originates from Eminem. Eminem's well-known track Stan tells the story of an obsessed fan who goes crazy while trying to get in contact with Eminem, until he eventually unalives his girlfriend. The term even started a vile section of Twitter known as Stan Twitter, and funny enough, not everyone on Stan Twitter realizes that the term originates from Eminem. Shade 45. Shade 45 is a hip-hop radio station on SiriusXM, which was founded by Eminem. The station is Channel 45, thus the number 45 in the name, and it plays raw, uncut rap and hip-hop. The channel also includes some very popular shows including Sway in the Morning and my personal favorite, The All Out Show with Rude Jude. The channel is highly successful and has been running since 2004. Proof. Deshaun Dupree Holton, aka Proof, was an American rapper and the best friend of Eminem. Originating from Detroit, Proof and Eminem were longtime friends from the early 90s. Outside of his friendship with M, Proof was a highly respected Detroit MC who seemed to be friends with everyone he came in contact with. Proof was the hype man for Eminem on plenty of his most famous tours, and even starred in the hit movie 8 Mile as one of the battlers who took on Eminem. He even landed a solo record deal, dropping Searching for Jerry Garcia, which featured tracks with 50 Cent, Method Man, and of course, Eminem, amongst others. However, on April 11, 2006, Proof was shot 3 times during a dispute over a game of pool at the CCC Club on 8 Mile Road in Detroit. To say the least, reports of what happened that night are very contradictory, but the story, at least according to Wikipedia, so let's take it with a grain of salt, is that Proof got into a fight with a man named Keith Bender when Bender's cousin Mario Etheridge fired a warning shot into the air. Proof responded to the warning shot by firing at Bender, hitting him in the head, which resulted in Etheridge shooting Proof 3 times, hitting him once in the head and twice in the chest. Proof was unalived at the scene, while Bender would succumb to his injuries a week later. A service was held on April 19, 2006 and was attended by over 2,500 people, including Eminem and 50 Cent. The unaliving of Proof took a very heavy toll on Eminem, as evident through his music. Eminem has remembered his friend on plenty of tracks, and even has the same forearm tattoo that Proof had. The story of Proof is for sure a sad one, and only makes you wonder what Proof would have made if he was still around today. Rest in peace, Proof. Albums prior to fame. This entry simply refers to the fact that Eminem has several albums and mixtapes which were released prior to fame. Some of these tapes will be talked about throughout the iceberg, so I won't go into any more detail here. My 5 favorite rappers are. My favorite 5 rappers are is this joke you could find under most Eminem content on YouTube, It's this old copy pasta where people claim that their favorite 5 rappers are Eminem, Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers, B Rabbit, and the white guy from D12. King Kniff. King Kniff is a character which can be heard on many Eminem albums, and he's supposed to be this over-the-top homosexual weirdo. Across his appearances, he's hit on Eminem, had oral relations with the Insane Clown Posse, and created gay parodies of Eminem songs. Perhaps we'll get another King Kniff skit in the future. We could only be so lucky. Infinite. Infinite is Eminem's first official studio album, released in 1996 through the Web Entertainment label. The album was only released on vinyl and cassette, and was a commercial failure, with only around 1,000 copies sold. However, Eminem stated in his autobiography that it only sold around 70 copies. After this, he would adopt the Slim Shady persona, which would help him become who he is today. A real, original copy of Infinite goes for an obscene amount of money, so if you want the full collection of Eminem releases, you better start saving. World record holder. Over the course of his career, Eminem has held numerous world records. Amongst these records include the fastest selling rap artist, most albums to debut at #1 by a solo act, and most words used in a hit song. Some of these records have since been broken, however it's always difficult to find the most accurate information on world records. His mom sued him. Eminem's troubled relationship with his mother is well known to the average Eminem fan, with him speaking about her very often. However, in 1999, Debbie Mathers found her son's words so triggering that she attempted to sue her own son for $10 million. In response to this lawsuit, Paul Rosenberg said, "Everything he has said can be verified as true. Truth is an absolute defense to a claim of defamation. This lawsuit does not come as a surprise to Eminem. It is merely the result of a lifelong strained relationship between him and his mother. Regardless, it is still painful to be sued by your mother, and therefore the lawsuit will only be dealt with through legal channels." Debbie was eventually awarded a settlement. However, the original price of $10 million was lowered to a measly $25 grand. And after a final ruling, it was found she was entitled to only $1,600, with the other $23,400 going to her lawyer. Benzino beef. Benzino is quite possibly Eminem's most heated and longest lasting beef, dating back to around 2002. It seemingly started when the Source magazine, which was co-owned by Benzino, gave the Eminem show a 4 out of 5. Eminem thought he would never get a 5 out of 5 solely based on his race, and that would cause Eminem to diss the Source in several interviews, and even denied an interview from Benzino after a show. Benzino responded to this on 2 separate tracks, "I Don't Wanna" and "Pull Your Skirt Up." Eminem would respond to Benzino in several diss tracks, including Invasion, The Sauce, and most notably, Nail in the Coffin. These diss tracks, in short, were not nice, and called out Benzino on his age, his rap style, and how he ran the Source. Benzino would then take the beef a step further, responding with 2 more tracks, Die Another Day and Better Lose Yourself, the latter of which was a parody of Lose Yourself. However, these tracks took a much darker step forward by mentioning Eminem's daughter Haley, saying, "Tell Haley it ain't safe no more. Daddy better watch your back at the candy store. We fucked up, resort to plan B. Fuck around, she end up like John Benet Ramsey." It was around this point that Benzino started using the Source as a tool to attack Eminem, and in response, Eminem released Go to Sleep, which featured both Obi Trice and DMX, dissing not only Benzino, but also Ja Rule, who was going at it with his friend and fellow rapper 50 Cent. At this point, Ja Rule would release his own diss track, Loose Change, dissing Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, and most brutally, Eminem. The track is best known for the final bar in which Ja Rule says, "Em, you claim your mother's a crackhead and Kim is a known slut, so what's Haley gonna be when she grows up?" This would obviously get Eminem very heated, and the Shady Records camp would release a barrage of diss tracks, including Bump Heads with G-Unit, Do Re Mi with D12, and Hail Mary with 50 Cent and Busta Rhymes, which would once again cause a Benzino response on Fallin' Down and a few other diss tracks. But it was at this point that Benzino took the beef a step further when he came into possession of early Eminem songs titled Foolish Pride and So Many Styles, both of which we will discuss on this iceberg. Both of these songs showed Eminem saying some questionable and flat-out racist things. The Source held a press conference in November of 2003 in which they would play the 2 songs to a crowd of journalists. And then these 2 recordings would later be released on CD, which was included with the February 2004 Source magazine issue. Eminem addressed these lyrics almost immediately, basically stating that the Foolish Pride track was when Eminem was only 15 years old, and he was lashing out as a dumb kid would. However, the Foolish Pride thing will get much deeper as we go down on this iceberg. There were a few more diss tracks back and forth, including discussing the entire beef on the song Like Toy Soldiers, but in 2005, he released his final diss track, I'm Gone, alongside Obi Trice. A few years later, Benzino did seemingly apologize, at least in part, saying, I can say it now, I was wrong for it, because at the end of the day, M is a great lyricist, and he should be able to express himself in hip-hop as anybody should. However, the hatchet between both men was never truly buried, as both still took small shots at each other until in March of 2022, when Benzino surprisingly tweeted out of nowhere, to all Eminem fans and stans all over the world, the beef is officially over. I'm letting y'all know I have no hate towards any of his fans and recognize his contributions to hip-hop. He truly is a part of the culture and one of the best to rock the mic regardless of his color. As of right now, it seems the beef has finally been put to rest, and honestly, it's probably for the better. Benzino, you can rest now. Michael Jackson owns his catalog. This entry refers to a famous story between Eminem and Michael Jackson. So Eminem famously made fun of Michael Jackson in the Just Lose It music video, dressing up as Michael and making references to his nose, the Pepsi hair fire incident, and the accusations of young boy stuff. As one would guess, Michael Jackson wasn't happy with how he was presented, commenting on Eminem in an interview with Geraldo Rivera.
I've never met Mr. Eminem, and to have him, I've always admired him, and to have him do something like that was pretty painful as an artist to another artist. And it's sad because, well, I think what Stevie Wonder said is true. And I just don't want to say too much more than that. But he should be ashamed of himself, what he's doing. Stevie said he's bull.
Later in 2007, Michael Jackson's Sony ATV Music Publishing, which he co-owned alongside Sony, purchased Famous Music for a total of $370 million. Now, to put it simply, Famous Music owned a lot of different music, including movie soundtracks, television music, and several well-known artist works, including Duke Ellington, Bjork, Shakira, and most notably, Eminem. Meaning that when Sony ATV bought Famous Music, they essentially bought the rights to Eminem's catalog, thus meaning that Michael Jackson essentially bought Eminem. Although Michael may have not done this specifically to get back at Eminem, we all know Michael probably did a small celebration dance as he handed Eminem a very rare L. Snoop Dogg beef. Two of hip-hop's longest-running MCs, Eminem and Snoop Dogg, had a short-lived beef in recent years. This beef started when Snoop Dogg was interviewed by The Breakfast Club and suggested that Eminem wouldn't rank among the top 10 rappers of all time. Not only this, but he really did seem to be dogging Eminem extra hard for someone who was supposedly in the same camp. Eminem would respond to this interview on his track Zeus with the bars, "Last thing I need is Snoop Dogg and me. Man, dog, you was like a damn god to me. Nah, not really. I had dog backwards, but I'm starting to think all these rappers taking shots at me, it's no wonder I be on my own." Snoop Dogg made some subliminal Instagram comments, as well as teasing an unreleased track on an Instagram Live, which seemingly threw shade Eminem's way. Between them ended up going silent for a while until in 2021 when Snoop was again interviewed by The Breakfast Club. However, this time, he decided to put the beef to rest. Eminem would reciprocate squashing this beef with the release of From the D to the LBC, which featured Snoop. It seems as if the beef is officially squashed, and honestly, that's probably best for rap music. Drake beef. So, the Drake beef, or lack thereof, refers to some bars from Lucky You on the Kamikaze album. You got a couple of ghostwriters, but to these kids, it don't actually matter. Fans began to speculate that this line was actually aimed at Drake. However, in an interview with Sway, M put to rest the idea that he was dissing Drake. He also goes on to say that he was just dissing the idea of ghostwriters altogether. 2017 BET Cypher. Eminem's 2017 BET Cypher was the first time in 5 years that Eminem had a cypher spot at the BET Awards. He spent over 4 minutes dissing then-President Donald Trump, going pretty hard in an a cappella verse. He mentioned Colin Kaepernick and even told his fans to pick a side if they were on the fence. The verse had plenty of people talking, including Fox News debates and the likes of LeBron James, Ellen, and even a shout out from Kaepernick himself. Regardless of your political opinion, this freestyle was a big moment for politics and hip-hop and showed the power that musicians have with their opinions. And while we're talking about Eminem and Donald Trump, Secret Service visit. On the Kamikaze opening track The Ringer, Eminem dropped the line saying, "But I know at least he's heard it, 'cause Agent Orange just sent the Secret Service to meet in person to see if I really think of hurting him or asked if I'm linked to terrorists." In this bar, Eminem states he was visited by the Secret Service, and the next year, BuzzFeed confirmed this by obtaining 40 pages from a Secret Service report showing that they did in fact interview him. BuzzFeed obtained this information through a FOIA request, otherwise known as the Freedom of Information Act, and showed that they were interested in some lyrics from the song Framed. The lyric in question is, "But dog, how the fuck is Ivanka Trump in the trunk of my car?" Even more interesting, it said a concerned citizen reported Eminem to the Secret Service for the lyric, and upon researching it turned out that the concerned citizen was actually a TMZ
employee.
But upon reading it, it seems as if the employee was simply reaching out for comment from the Secret Service, as opposed to actually reporting Eminem for the line. The document also stated that Eminem made some very threatening comments towards the president and included the 2017 BET Cypher as well as his track Like Home. One of my favorite pieces of this document is that when the Secret Service agents began reading off the lyrics, Eminem started rapping along with them. After the interview, the Secret Service decided not to refer the case to a federal prosecutor, and you can find this full 40-page document online with a simple Google search. The Interview Cameo. The Interview is a 2014 film about fictional television interviewer Dave Skylark, a popular celebrity interviewer who hosts Skylark Tonight. Early on in the film, to establish the outlandish interviewing stylings of Dave Skylark, we get a hilarious scene of Dave, who is played by James Franco, interviewing Eminem. The scene starts with Dave questioning some of Eminem's lyrics, to which he states that he really just raps about stuff from his real life, and then nonchalantly explains how when he raps homophobic lyrics, it's because he's gay, and carries on like he said nothing. Dave and everyone else is obviously confused, and they ask him to rewind and explain what he meant by saying he's gay, to which Eminem reiterates that he is a homosexual man who likes other men. Dave tells Eminem that people might be shocked to hear he's gay, and Eminem responds by saying he's more shocked people haven't figured it out. The entire scene is really funny and sets the tone for the hilarious movie. And also, it's crazy I have to actually say this, but no, Eminem is not actually gay, at least according to all known information. There are actually people out there who saw this scene out of context and believe it was an actual coming out for Slim Shady. But no, movies aren't real. Christina Aguilera beef. Eminem and Christina Aguilera had a well-documented feud, which started with the 1999 MTV special titled What a Girl Wants. Christina watched several different music videos and gave her opinions on them, one of which was the My Name Is video. During a reaction, she states that Eminem had recently been married in secret, quote, to the lady he talks about unaliving on his record. Eminem didn't take too kindly to her airing a rumor that she heard, and in response, he aired a rumor that he heard. On The Real Slim Shady, he would go on to say, "Shit, Christina Aguilera better switch me chairs so I can sit next to Carson Daly and Fred Durst and hear them argue over who she gave head to first. Little bitch put me on blast on MTV. Yeah, he's cute, but I think he's married to Kim. I'm not gonna make that laughing noise. Oh, fuck it, I'll say it. Hee hee. I should download her audio on MP3 and show the whole world how you gave him an MVD." After that song was released, Christina released her own song, Can't Hold Us Down, a feminist anthem with some lyrics that were possibly aimed at Eminem. However, it's never formally been confirmed. Later during the 2002 VMAs, Christina was chosen to present the award for Best Male Video. It just so happened that the winner of that award was Eminem for his video Without Me. The two had a seemingly normal exchange, and it's even said they had a chance to talk to one another after Eminem gave a speech. It's even reported that the two hugged one another. This was seemingly the end of their beef until 2018 when Eminem mentioned her again on his kickoff freestyle, to which she later responded the mentions by saying, "Yeah, I mean, that's real thirsty. I don't know what's going on there. That's really in the past, and you know, it was thirsty then, it's thirsty now. It's not nice to go after anybody, especially a female in the business, and now what we're looking at and seeing come to the forefront, it's just get a new gig. Have something else to talk about." The beef seems to have subsided for the time being, And it's also worth noting that many people online have been shipping Em and Christina for a really, really long time. It's rumored the two even had some sort of feelings for one another at some point, but neither have confirmed this. Ariana Grande controversy. After the release of Eminem's 11th studio album, Music to Be Murdered By, a new controversy spawned based off one of the lyrics on the second track. The song Unaccommodating featured the lyric, "I'm contemplating yelling bombs away in the game like I'm outside of an Ariana Grande concert waiting." This lyric was a reference to the 2017 terrorist attack at an Ariana Grande concert, which saw a bomber unalive 22 people in Manchester, England. Many people were upset by this lyric, with the mayor of Manchester, Annie Burnham, even saying that the lyric was unnecessarily hurtful and deeply disrespectful. However, one of the biggest criticisms for this bar was that it was low-hanging fruit, and was Eminem trying to be shocking solely for the sake of being shocking. Bornana. Bornana is the newest Eminem meme. During the song Tone Deaf, Eminem raps the line, "I can make an orange rhyme with banana. Bornana. Eating pork rinds, sword fighting in pajamas, at the crib playing Fortnite with your grandma." In the following months of Tone Deaf, the internet latched onto this specific rhyme, creating memes and short videos about the specific lyric. For anyone who's also a fan of MF Doom, this is basically Eminem's equivalent of Doritos, Fritos, and Cheetos. Fack on greatest hits. I think I can safely assume that Fack is Eminem's most absurd song he's ever put out. The song consists of a turn-on man describing a sexual encounter which includes the insertion of a gerbil into the man's rectum. What makes this song even better is the fact that the song is the very first song on his greatest hits album, Curtain Call, The Hits. So imagine all of the people who purchased this album to hear songs like Stan and The Way I Am, only to have Fack be the first thing they hear when they turn on the album. That is actually one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Mariah Carey. Eminem and Mariah Carey have been at odds as far back as Eminem's Superman video. According to Eminem, the duo had some sort of relationship at some point. However, Mariah Carey has always denied this. Both took small shots at one another, with the largest shot being Eminem playing alleged voicemails from Mariah during his set on the Anger Management tour. Many years later, out of seemingly nowhere, on the 2009 track Bagpipes from Baghdad, Eminem spins the first verse brutally dissing Mariah as well as her then husband Nick Cannon. The very next month, Mariah released the music video for Obsessed, a song about an obsessed man who claims to have had a relationship with Mariah. The video featured a goateed, hoodie-donned man, which is believed to be Eminem. Though she's never formally confirmed it, it's safe to say that the video is aimed at Slim Shady. In response to this, the next month, Eminem released what could be his most brutal diss track ever, The Warning. The Warning is a 3-minute track aimed at Mariah and Nick, and Eminem spared no expense on this song, airing all different kinds of dirty laundry. The song really speaks for itself and even debuted at number 23 on the Billboard US Rap Songs chart of 2009. After this, Mariah would never respond, but that doesn't go for Nick Cannon. Speaking of, Nick Cannon. As I stated previously, Nick Cannon was involved in the Eminem beef alongside Mariah. After the release of Bagpipes from Baghdad, Nick Cannon posted a lengthy internet blog addressing Eminem, saying some pretty brutal things you'd never expect someone like Nick Cannon to say, at least at that time. After The Warning, Nick would respond on the track I'm a Slick Rick. However, the track it's not good. And listen, I'm not just saying that because I'm an obvious Eminem fan. The track is really bad. Go listen to it yourself and try to defend it. I literally dare you. Nick also tried to set up a charity boxing match between him and M, but it never came to be. Nearly 10 years later, Nick Cannon talked about the Eminem beef on the T.I. podcast. Basically, Nick just talks about how the song came out dissing his wife, so he did what any super dope rap star would do. He wrote him a letter. He spent about 6 minutes discussing everything, and that was that. But Eminem wouldn't let that slide, as he would take another shot at Mariah and Nick on the Fat Joe track Lord Above, practically saying that Mariah took Nick's balls. This would cause Nick to fire several shots back at Eminem, including a scathing rant on his Instagram, and several diss tracks including The Invitation Cancelled, and Pray For Him. Nick even tried to get Eminem to come on Wild 'N Out, and even accused him of having a video of Eminem stimulating male genitalia with his mouth. However, the only response we ever got from M was 2 simple tweets. The feud seems to have subsided for the time being, but we never know when and if it'll randomly restart. Super Bowl commercials. Slim Shady has done 2 separate Super Bowl commercials in his day. The first of which was for Lipton Brisk. We see a claymated Eminem going through his demands for doing a commercial. These demands include he needs hot chicks, to do it at his own home, and to record his own song. But he says he always hates the product in the end, so he ends up not doing it. However, he takes a sip of some brisk iced tea and says it's pretty good. The other commercial is for Chrysler, which was actually founded in Detroit, Michigan. The commercial shows a Chrysler 200 being driven around Detroit, showing off the people as well as the city. The narrator has a pretty uplifting speech about the city, and then it's revealed that Eminem is actually driving the vehicle. He parks the car and walks into the Fox Theater where the Selected of God choir is singing. Eminem walks on stage in front of the choir, looks into the camera, and finishes the commercial with the line, "This is the Motor City, and this is what we do." The commercial has been called one of the greatest commercials of all time, and is actually one of the longest Super Bowl commercials to ever air, at nearly 2 minutes long. My Name Is was created the first day he met Dre. So, in the HBO docuseries The Defiant Ones, Dr. Dre tells the story of meeting Eminem for the first time. According to Dre, Eminem came into the Interscope offices in a bright yellow jumpsuit, and they went to his personal home studio. In the first few minutes of being there, Dre put on the My Name Is instrumental, and within just a few seconds, Eminem blurted out, "Hi, my name is..." According to Dre, the entirety of the song was recorded in that session and was the very first thing the duo ever worked on in the very first day that they were together. Whitney and Elena. Elena Marie Mathers and Stevie Lane Mathers, formerly named Whitney, are Eminem's other children. Unlike Haley, the two are actually adopted children. There's very little known about the two of them, but of what we do know, Elena Marie Mathers was adopted by Eminem sometime in the 2000s, and is the daughter of Kim Mathers' twin sister Dawn. It's said that Dawn had many personal issues, so Eminem and Kim adopted her to give her a better life. Elena was raised alongside Haley, and the song Mockingbird is even dedicated to both Haley and Elena. She lives her life separately from Eminem's fame, but is still very active on her Instagram page. Stevie Lane Mathers was adopted by Eminem, yet it's unclear when exactly this happened. They are the offspring of Kim Mathers and her ex, Eric Carter. However, he adopted them at a young age due to issues surrounding Kim and Eric's personal lives. Stevie is non-binary and no longer goes by the name Whitney. You can also find them on Instagram, however they don't nearly post as much as their sisters. Uncle Ronnie. Ronald Dean Polkinghorne was Eminem's uncle. He's referred to as Uncle Ronnie by Eminem, and even though Ronnie was his uncle, the two were practically the same age, with Ronnie being only 2 months older than Em. It's said Ronnie got Eminem into rap music, and in fact, Eminem's very first songs from when he was just a child were actually with Ronnie, as confirmed by Ronnie's brother Tom Polkinghorne. Sadly, on December 13th, 1991, at only age 19, Ronnie unalived himself in the backyard of his home. It's unknown why exactly Ronnie did this. However, Eminem gave some slight insight on his song Stan. "I read about your Uncle Ronnie too, I'm sorry. I had a friend unalive himself over some bitch who didn't want him." Eminem has never commented otherwise on Ronnie, however he does have a Rip Ronnie tattoo on his arm. Clone theory. Okay, so here's a wild one, but a well-known one. According to this conspiracy theory, Eminem was unalived in 2006 in a car accident, and was then replaced by either an android or body double. The theory's evidence includes significant changes to his lyrics, and the shape of his jawline seemingly changing post-2006. Other pieces of so-called evidence include his appearance on ESPN, and oddly enough, the Tom MacDonald song Cloned Rappers, in which he states that rappers have been getting clones such as Eminem, Gucci Mane, and Kodak Black. Listen, I'm not going to judge people based on what they believe in, but the idea that rappers of all people are the ones that are being cloned is pretty idiotic to me. I mean, sure, look, anything is possible, but I also think people need to come back to planet Earth. Biterphobia. Biterphobia is generally referred to as Eminem's very first song, and while it isn't, which we will discuss further on this iceberg, it's a very early Eminem song, which was actually the B-side of Soul Intent's first single, Fucking Backstabber. The song shows off a juvenile Eminem still figuring out his rap style, but does show off his ability to rap fast. Though the audio quality is pretty bad, it's a great listen as you can hear what would eventually become Eminem. Bad Guy is Stan 2. Quite simply, the opening track Bad Guy from the Marshall Mathers LP2 is the sequel to the well-known Eminem track Stan. I know this is obvious to some, however many casual fans have this fact go right over their head. Kim and 97 Bonnie and Clyde. Another pretty obvious yet easy to miss fact is that the song Kim and 97 Bonnie and Clyde are actually related. Kim is a track which tells the story of a brutal domestic situation of Eminem and Kim, which ends with Eminem unaliving Kim, which is then followed by sounds of Eminem dragging the body, crickets, and a trunk closing. But if you then listen to the song 97 Bonnie and Clyde, you'll hear the same exact outro from Kim at the beginning of that record. 97 Bonnie and Clyde is a song which Eminem runs off with Haley and ends up ditching the unalived body of Kim, and together tell a pretty dark story. And only played together do you get the entire story. Difficult. Difficult is a leaked track from 2007 which was among plenty of other leaked tracks from that time. The song is entirely dedicated to the memory of his fallen friend Proof. There's two separate versions of this track you can find, one that features a chorus from Obi Trice and one that doesn't. However, the track is a very personal telling of Eminem and Proof's relationship, in which Eminem discusses their childhood friendship, the details surrounding his unaliving, and the aftermath of his unaliving. The track was leaked by the infamous Kulo, who we'll discuss more in this iceberg. However, it's said that Difficult is the one track he regrets leaking due to the emotional content. Doesn't remember Lose Yourself demo. This entry refers to a popular story surrounding the original Lose Yourself demo, which was featured on Shady XV. The demo features completely different lyrics, including a completely new hook. But the true wonder of this song is that Eminem states he doesn't remember when or where he recorded the song. There is a video on the Eminem Music YouTube channel that you can find that's about 30 seconds long, and features Eminem talking about how he doesn't remember the track. Symphony in H. Symphony in H is a 2013 track from Eminem which was included on the Tony Touch release Peacemaker 3 Return of the 50 MCs. Tony Touch is a legend in his own right as a New York City-based DJ who's been able to pull off a wide range of features throughout his mixtapes, one of which was Eminem. Eminem raps his usual fast-paced, hard-hitting, loud style over a 95-second Tony Touch beat. The song officially debuted on Shade 45 in June of 2013, and was actually a pretty big deal since Eminem hadn't released an album since 2010 at that point. Awfully Hot Coffee Pot. Awfully Hot Coffee Pot is an infamous Eminem lyric from his 2017 BET Cypher. But it does start off with the line, "That's an awfully hot coffee pot, should I drop it on Donald Trump?" And ever since, that opening bar has become another Eminem meme. You can find a ton of meme videos about this, and it even became my Instagram bio for a while. Shameless plug at Kobe Sucks. My Salsa. My Salsa is another Eminem meme, which references the ending verse of the D12 hit My Band, where Eminem raps about his salsa while the entire band dances as mariachis. The community has basically adopted the My Salsa part and made it another copy-pasta joke you will see on Eminem-related media. Yeah, that's it. Christopher Reeves. Christopher Reeve is an actor best known for playing Superman in the 1978 film Superman. In 1985, Reeve began horse riding and quickly became a fan of the sport and kept riding for the next 10 years. However, on May 27, 1995, Reeve was riding when his horse suddenly stopped mid-jump, throwing him forward and causing him to hit the ground head first, which would shatter his first and second vertebrae, ultimately paralyzing him from the neck down. After that, Reeve was now unable to breathe without the aid of a ventilator, and would spend the rest of his life in this state, but still stayed positive in his new life, becoming an activist for stem cell research until he was unalived in 2004. So to anyone unfamiliar, you're probably wondering where Eminem comes into all of this. Well, simply put, Eminem has made tons of references to Christopher Reeve throughout his career, most of which were making jokes towards his paralyzation. Some of the songs he's mentioned Christopher in are Rain Man, Medicine Ball, I'm Back, Underground, Purple Pills, My First Single, and Who Knew, amongst plenty of others. It's not really clear why Eminem has made that many references to the paralyzation, but he's continued the mentions well past his unaliving, with the latest reference coming in Campaign Speech. I would really enjoy Eminem to address this someday, but as with plenty of other items on this list, that'll probably never happen. Will Smith beef. At the 1999 VMAs, Will Smith won in the Best Male Video category, beating out Ricky Martin, Lenny Kravitz, and Eminem. During his acceptance speech, Will Smith mentioned that he never had to cuss in any songs to win awards. Eminem took this as a dig at him, since Kravitz and Martin didn't use cuss words in the songs that they were nominated for, while Eminem's nominated song My Name Is did. Eminem also felt as if Will Smith was dissing rap as a whole, so he would later fire back in the song The Real Slim Shady, saying, Will Smith don't gotta cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do. So fuck him and fuck you too. Surprisingly, or not if you're aware of Will Smith's music career, he actually responded to the bar on his 2005 track, Mr. Nice Guy, saying, "Dissed by Eminem but didn't bother him. Yep, well he classy. Big Will just get another 20 mil, walk right past E." This is where the beef between the duo ended, and nothing else has happened since. It wouldn't shock me though if Eminem eventually mentions the Will Smith-Chris Rock thing, because it just seems like something Eminem would mention. Remember I said this too. Nathan Mathers. Nathan Kane Samora Mathers is Eminem's half-brother. Nathan, who goes by Nate, is 14 years younger than Eminem, and is actually a semi-popular DJ. Not too much is known about his personal life, however he has appeared in plenty of Eminem-related media, such as the Up in Smoke tour, the Anger Management tour, and even playing Matthew in the Stan music video. He's also been mentioned in plenty of songs including Cleaning Out My Closet and Headlights. Also, it's been said that the Encore leak was partially Nathan's fault, as it's believed that a friend of Nathan's found an Eminem CD of unreleased songs and ultimately leaked them. It's not necessarily his fault if that's the case, but the true story of how it happened has never been confirmed. Soul Intent. Soul Intent was Eminem's first known rap group. Originally known as Basement Productions, the group consisted of rappers Eminem, then known as M&M, Mannix, Chaos Kid, DJ Butterfingers, and later included Champtown. The group was active from 1990 to 1995, and released several projects before the group disbanded in 95. Obviously, Eminem would go on to superstardom, while the other members took several varying paths, most of which we talk about later on this iceberg.
Airplanes Part 2.
One of the biggest songs of 2010 was Airplanes by B.O.B. and Hayley Williams of Paramore. The song was virtually everywhere, but some are surprised to learn of a remix of this song titled Airplanes Part 2, which features Eminem on the final verse. B.O.B. also completely changes his verses, and the pair talk about how life would have been if neither ended up rapping. The track really is a great listen, and in my opinion, is on par with the original. Elton John. Eminem and Elton John are really good friends. This may be surprising to some due to early Eminem lyrics. However, it's said Elton John has had Eminem's back from very early in his career. It's said the friendship began when Eminem performed Stand Live at the 2001 Grammys, with the chorus being performed by Elton John. The performance is easily one of Eminem's most popular, and even ended up with Eminem and Elton John hugging and holding hands. Following this, Elton John was quoted as saying that they became amazing friends, and that he adored Eminem. Many years later, during Eminem's well-documented drug addiction, Elton John was actually Eminem's AA sponsor, as revealed in his memoir, Me. Eminem later confirmed this to The Guardian by saying, "When I first wanted to get sober, I called Elton and spoke to him about it. He's somebody who's in the business and can identify and relate to the lifestyle and how hectic things can be. He understands the pressure and any other reason that you want to come up with for doing drugs." Eminem also revealed that Elton would call him every day during the early days of his recovery. Bruno. Comedian Sacha Baron Cohen is no stranger to public pranks, as he is best known for his Borat character. However, Sacha Baron Cohen actually has an entire wardrobe of characters, one of which is the notorious Bruno. Bruno plays a shallow gay Austrian fashionista who pranked unsuspecting people in the same vein of Borat. And to promote the 2009 film Bruno, Bruno was set to deliver the Best Male Performer award at the 2009 MTV Movie Awards. He flew in on wires, dressed in wings, go-go boots, and donning a jockstrap which revealed his hindquarters. After flying over the crowd, he starts falling, ultimately landing headfirst in Eminem's lap, with his exposed buttocks in Eminem's face. Eminem started shouting expletives as him and the rest of D12 started throwing Bruno around, and then walked out of the show, leaving Bruno dangling in the air. The entire prank is pretty funny to watch back, but it was later revealed that Slim Shady was actually in on the joke. Sacha Baron Cohen reached out to Eminem to explain what he wanted to do, and Eminem found the entire prank pretty funny, and ultimately agreed to participate. All She Wrote. That's All She Wrote is a 2010 track featured on T.I.'s album No Mercy. The song features a verse from Eminem, as well as M taking a chorus. The song itself is pretty good, as both rappers' styles complement each other very well, with T.I. taking a more laid-back approach to his verse, while Eminem brings a more mean style. Eminem also recorded a solo version of this track featuring some new verses, but as far as I can tell, this solo version was never officially released, and instead leaked. However, that's not too clear, and if you know where this track originates, please comment below. Foolish Pride. Foolish Pride is a song recorded by Eminem back in 1990. The song features a young Eminem talking about a black woman who broke his heart and basically states that you should never date a black girl, saying that they're dumb and that white women are much better. Obviously, this song topic is very controversial and features some very off-color lines, no pun intended, but Eminem was literally a kid when he made it. So in some sense, we can justify it as he was just being a dumb kid. Eminem originally commented on the song saying, "The tape they played today was something I made out of anger, stupidity, and frustration when I was a teenager. I'd just broken up with my girlfriend, who was African American, and I reacted like the angry, stupid kid I was. I hope people will take it for the foolishness that it was, not for what somebody is trying to make it into today." He also talked about the song in the final verse of the 2004 track Yellow Brick Road, where he basically apologizes for singling out black women because no matter what color a girl is, she's still a hoe. Scary Movies. Scary Movies is the B-side to the 1998 single Nothing to Do from Bad Meets Evil. The track starts with M asking, I'm gonna try to do my best here, "What's your favorite scary movie?" That was cringe. Before he and Royce da 5'9" absolutely demolished the track. This song was also used during the credits of Scary Movie, the classic film which parodies some of the most famous scary movies. Sadly, a year after the release of this project, Bad Meets Evil broke up, leading Eminem and Royce to beef for several years. Luckily, the two have since buried the hatchet and have released plenty of pretty hype tracks since, including the 2011 Health sequel EP. Lose Yourself was one take. Lose Yourself is quite possibly Eminem's most popular song, or you could at least argue that it is. So the story goes that during a lunch break from filming 8 Mile, Eminem recorded each verse to Lose Yourself in one take. It's said that these verses are the ones that are used in the final version of Lose Yourself that we know today. Briefcase Joe. Briefcase Joe is a 2009 sketch from Jimmy Kimmel Live featuring Eminem. The sketch features Eminem in the studio teaching Kimmel how to rap, and is a pretty funny sketch. Eminem asked Kimmel what the worst thing that happened to him as a kid was, to which Kimmel tells a story about how he brought a briefcase to school on his first day of junior year in high school. Upon walking into school, a group of kids yelled out, "Hey Briefcase Joe!" To which Eminem says he should use that as his rap name. The rest of the sketch shows the two writing a rap and recording it, and finishes with the official Briefcase Joe music video. This sketch is available on YouTube and is worth watching for any fans of Kimmel, and for any fan of Slim Shady. A stalker tried to unalive him. On April 5th, 2020, at around 4 a.m., Eminem woke up to find a man breaking into his house through a window in his kitchen. Eminem asked the man why he was there, to which the man responded that he was there to unalive him. Eminem shouted for security, who then apprehended the man until the police arrived. Matthew David Hughes would spend the next 524 days in jail on charges of home invasion, as well as malicious destruction of a building. He was finally sentenced to 5 years of probation and released in September of 2021. This story is crazy because the man was able to break into one of the biggest rappers in the world's house, despite him having 24/7 security. TMZ reported that this happened due to a sleeping security guard, so it's safe to say that there were new security measures put in place after this incident. The 1997 Rap Olympics. The Rap Olympics were events which showcased different rappers in the 90s. The event is mostly remembered due to the 1997 edition of the Rap Olympics, in which Eminem was a participant. The event featured rap battles, with the winner going home with $500 and a Rolex. Eminem made it to the finals against rapper Otherwise, and actually came in second place, with Otherwise taking home the prize. Despite losing, after the event, an Interscope Records intern bought a tape from Eminem of the Slim Shady EP, which was then given to CEO Jimmy Iovine, who loved the tape. Iovine then played the tape for Dr. Dre, which would ultimately lead to Eminem being signed to Aftermath in 1998. Basically, the 1997 Rap Olympics led to the collaborative duo of Eminem and Dr. Dre. Osama bin Laden diss. So there's this song that's been attributed to Eminem over the years, which is supposed to be Osama bin Laden rapping over the Watcher beat and dissing Dr. Dre. The track sounds like Eminem doing one of his impressions, however it was confirmed on Twitter by Kaniva that this track was not made by Eminem. People have debated who has actually created this track, with the majority saying it was rapper Dennis, who is known for sounding very similar to Eminem. However, I personally messaged Dennis on Instagram, to which he confirmed he did not create this track. The creator of this track is currently unknown, with it most likely spawning from the days of LimeWire and coming from some random dude in a bedroom. If you have any leads at all as to who actually made this Osama bin Laden diss, please reach out to me or leave a comment below. Overdose. In 2007, Eminem overdosed in a bathroom of his home. It's no secret that Eminem had a pill problem way back when. However, one night he had taken some random pills which ultimately ended up being methadone, a pill used to keep heroin addicts away from heroin. Eminem stated that a doctor told him that the amount of pills he took was equivalent to that of 4 bags of heroin. Eminem has only ever opened up about the actual overdose through his music, most notably in the song Deja Vu from Relapse, and more recently with his back-to-back tracks Castle and A Rose from Revival. At the end of Castle, Eminem reenacts his overdose, which transitions to A Rose, which practically examines his overdose and his final thoughts before potentially unaliving. However, at the end of the song, it rewinds back to the Castle beat, and he gets a second chance at the verse, similar to how he got a second chance at life upon not unaliving from his overdose. Eminem shows that he isn't taking the second chance for granted, and tells the listener to consider the prior 4 minutes as the song he would have made for his daughters, had he actually been unalived from the overdose. The 2 songs are some of Eminem's most intimate works, and serve as possibly the most personal songs he has ever made. The kamikaze song that went too far. During an interview with Sway, Eminem said that Dr. Dre had to dial Eminem back on a song where he went too far, to which Eminem agreed that the song did indeed go too far. People have discussed what this song could have been, but as of right now, it hasn't been revealed what topic was even too much for Eminem. M&M. Simply being a reference to his initials, this was the name he used on the early Soul Intent mixtapes. I also wanted to mention this picture in this topic, just because it came up when I googled it. I Got The is a 1975 song that was sampled for Eminem's breakout hit, My Name Is. This item is so low because many fans are unaware that this beat uses a sample at all. Where I'm At is a lesser known Eminem feature with rapper Lloyd Banks. The song was featured on Banks' 3rd studio album, The Hunger for More 2, as an iTunes exclusive bonus track. Personally, Lloyd's verse is on par with Eminem's, and he seems to be able to keep up with the veteran rapper's pace. D'Angelo Bailey Lawsuit. In the song Brain Damage, Eminem raps the bar, way before my baby daughter Haley, I was harassed daily by a fat kid named D'Angelo Bailey, and continues the rest of the verse with a hyperbolic story of being bullied. But while the verse isn't necessarily true, what is true is the fact that Eminem was brutally bullied all throughout his school life, and even more so is the fact that D'Angelo Bailey was the name of Eminem's real bully. Eminem confirmed this in a Rolling Stone interview, saying, "Motherfucker used to beat the shit out of me. I was in 4th grade and he was in 6th. D'Angelo Bailey. I'll never forget that kid." As a result of that verse, D'Angelo Bailey sued Eminem for $1 million, stating that the lyrics were slanderous. However, Eminem maintained that Bailey was in fact a bully, and even his own mother publicly supported her son's account of the bullying. Bailey himself had admitted that he was a bully in his youth, but his lawyer tried to paint Eminem as the real bully, going as far to say Eminem was racist, which I think most sane people would agree that he's not. Ultimately, Judge Deborah Servito dismissed the ruling, which included a paper explaining her ruling, which oddly enough ended with a 10-stanza rap to convey the court's opinion to fans of rap. The verse includes the lyrics, Eminem maintains that the story is true, and that Bailey beat him black and blue, and the alternative he states that the story is phony, and a reasonable person would think it's baloney. The full rap was recorded for the Eminem AKA documentary and can be found online. Funny to think that the case started with a rap and ended with a rap. Paintball drive-by. As the story goes, when Eminem was 20 years old, he was arrested for a drive-by shooting in which he was the driver. The drive-by shooting didn't feature any real hot metal slugs, and instead the weapon used was a paintball gun. The case was eventually dismissed though, as the victim didn't show up to court. Eminem talked about the drive-by on the leaked track Difficult. A similar incident was seen in the movie 8 Mile, which could very well be a reference to this drive-by shooting. Fan album community. This entry simply refers to the massive community of people creating and sharing fan-made albums of Eminem, which range from what scrapped albums may have sounded like, his official albums with alternate track listings, all the way to some weirdly interesting ones which we will touch on later. Syllables. Syllables is a 2010 leaked song which was recorded around 2007. The song features Eminem, Stat Quo, Cassius, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, and Jay-Z. The song focuses on how today's kids prefer simple rap music over the complexity of lyrics. This song never received an official release, as with most of the leaked songs of Eminem. According to Stat Quo, the official name for the track was My Salibable, and was meant for an Eminem release, possibly the cancelled King Mathers. The Slim Shady Show. The Slim Shady Show is an animated series from 2001, based on Eminem and his separate alter egos. The official IMDb description of this show simply states, Slim Shady along with his friends Ken Kniff, Marshall, Big D, and others go through wicked adventures across Detroit. Each episode runs about 5 minutes in length and features additional voices from Paul Rosenberg, Exhibit, and comic book artist Mark Brooks. The show is pretty lowbrow, but still an interesting watch for Eminem fans, and you can still find the DVD for pretty cheap on eBay. ESPN Glitch. Back in 2013, Eminem would join the announcers during a Notre Dame-Michigan football game for a short interview. At the start of the interview, Eminem seemingly stared blankly into an abyss while the host talked to him. After nearly 20 seconds, he snapped back to reality to chat with the announcers. This moment, along with some pretty awkward back and forths, live on as a pretty funny encounter. However, many conspiracy theorists and idiots say that this moment was a glitch, or even proof that Eminem was cloned. This is really dumb, as this stare is very similar to the stare he did in the Berserk video, which just so happened to be what he was promoting during the interview. New Zealand National Party lawsuit. In 2014, Eminem's publishers filed a lawsuit against the New Zealand National Party after they used a sound-alike version of Lose Yourself during a campaign ad for their election. The Wellington High Court originally ruled in favor of 8 Mile Style, Eminem's publisher. However, the Court of Appeal of New Zealand would reduce the damages down to $225,000. Eminem commented on the lawsuit in an interview with Variety, where he said he wasn't consulted, but if he's ever paid, he would donate the money to charity. Hellbound. Hellbound is a 2002 track that Eminem features on, alongside Jay Black and Master Ace. The beat samples the theme of Soul Calibur, and is another track that Eminem fans debate on being amongst the rapper's most underrated tracks. His opening verse shows off the classic old-school Eminem style. He was offered See You Again. According to 50 Cent, Eminem was originally offered the song See You Again, which would later be recorded by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth. Eminem turned down the song to focus on the film Southpaw, and even though I'm curious how the song would have came out, I think the Wiz Khalifa Charlie Puth version is too iconic to change. Like, imagine Vin Diesel and Paul Walker's final shot with Eminem playing to it. Don't Front with Buckshot. Don't Front was a bonus track for the Marshall Mathers LP2, which only came with the Eminem Call of Duty Ghost bundle. Basically, the only way to get this song was to have the specific CD that came with the bundle, or at least this was the case until it was released as a bonus track on the Best Buy Deluxe edition of Shady XV. Eminem's flow on this track is really one of his best in a while, which makes me wonder why this song was only designated to being a bonus track. King Mathers. King Mathers is an unreleased album from 2007, which is believed to have been the rapper's planned final album. It's said that most of the songs on this album have either been leaked or been officially released as part of other projects. Eminem himself has never mentioned the album besides one small reference on the song Castle, when he said, "I'll put out this last album, then I'm done with it. 100% finished, fed up with it, I'm hanging it up, fuck it." Coma at 9 years old. During a school day in 1982, a 9-year-old Marshall was cornered in a bathroom by a much larger student, who hit him with a snowball which hit a heavy object inside. Marshall fell to the floor bleeding and was not found for several hours. This would result in Marshall falling into a coma for 10 days. Not much else is really known about this topic other than the fact that his mother would go on to sue the school. Marshall Bruce Mathers Jr. Marshall Bruce Mathers Jr. is the name of Eminem's biological father. Born on June 30th, 1951, he met Eminem's mom when she was only 15, and some websites say he was 22 when they started dating. After only 2 years of dating, they had a child, Marshall Bruce Mathers III. Even though they just previously had a child, he would leave Debbie and baby Eminem after only 11 months of his life. After this, he would move to California and have 2 more children with a different mother, completely abandoning his family in Detroit. Eminem tried to contact his father as a teenager, but he was never able to. Some years later, his father would make several attempts of contacting him, but this was only after Eminem became famous. The two never spoke to one another, and on June 26, 2019, he unalived of a heart attack. Eminem responded to this event in his song Leaving Heaven, in which he said, "I couldn't see your ass going to heaven, so I'm asking for a pass to go to hell, so I can whip your fucking ass. I hate that I'll never get to say I hate you to your face." He didn't create Ken Kniff. In Tier 2, we covered the character of Ken Kniff, who is this hyperbolic stereotype of a homosexual, which can be heard across several Eminem albums. However, one lesser known fact is that Eminem did not actually create the King Kniff character. King Kniff was originally voiced by a man named Aristotle, who voiced Ken the first time he appeared on an Eminem album. The Slim Shady LP featured Ken, who was played by Aristotle, calling Eminem and making a sexual advance towards him. But sometime between the Slim Shady LP and the Marshall Mathers LP, Eminem and Aristotle had a falling out, so Eminem took the Ken character for himself and would play him on all future albums. Aristotle was upset by this, and in response, he created The King Kniff Show. This album is a rare full-length mixtape from King Kniff. However, what it actually is Aristotle rapping as his version of King Kniff. The mixtape features 14 tracks, with the final track titled Without You being a diss towards Eminem, Dr. Dre, and plenty of others in the Shady camp. It's a pretty fun listen when you know the whole story, but you probably won't be able to make it through the whole mixtape. Cocaine. Cocaine is a leaked song from 2011, which is believed to have been recorded for either Relapse 2 or even Recovery. Eminem describes his career and how he can't possibly leave the limelight, and likening his addiction to fame to an addiction to cocaine. Some of the earliest leaks credited the female hook as Alicia Keys, however it's now believed that the hook is actually R&B singer Jasmine Sullivan. Neither Eminem or Jasmine have ever acknowledged the track as far as I could find, so I guess it's not 100% that it's Jasmine, but it's a pretty safe bet. Jason from Miami. In 2008, LL Cool J appeared on the SiriusXM radio show Toka Tuesday, hosted by Tony Touch. The show began to take callers, with the most notable caller being Jason from Miami. Jason began rapping different lyrics of LL's songs and challenged him to name what song they were from. After a handful of songs, LL commented back to the caller and said he sounded really good rapping and told Jason he needed to write some bars. Jason responded by saying he had actually written some lyrics and asked if he could rap for LL. After LL agreed, Jason began rapping the lyrics to Lose Yourself and ultimately revealed that Jason was actually Eminem. M began praising LL, and the entire segment is a fun listen for anyone who's never heard it. Keisha Alvarez. So, Keisha Alvarez is a woman who had some sort of relationship with Eminem in his mid-20s. Some people say they were dating, while some say she was just a groupie. Keisha claimed that Eminem was bad in bed, and that's really all that's known about her. You can find an article on Facebook with a supposed interview with Keisha, but since it's Facebook, I wouldn't believe it. Marissa Cirillo, or Carrillo. Marissa is another past love of Eminem who is said to have worked in the music industry and helped Eminem become the success he is today. Hardcore Eminem fans will say that the verse on Spend Some Time is actually about Marissa, but finding information on any of Eminem's relationships is next to impossible, and mostly consists of forum rumors. So who knows if Eminem actually dated these women? Eminem and Kanye collabed in 1999. Eminem and Kanye West are two of the most successful rappers to have ever graced the genre, so it's crazy to think that the two of them actually collaborated by sheer coincidence in 1999. Tell 'Em Why You Mad is a 1999 debut album for the Mad Rapper. Track 9, titled Stir Crazy, features Eminem rapping alongside the Mad Rapper about how crazy the two of them are. But the track becomes even more intriguing once you realize that it was produced by a young Kanye West. So technically, Eminem and Kanye West had collaborated over 20 years ago. 365. 365 is an early Eminem feature from 1998 with fellow rapper Scam. The track was referenced on the classic song Stan with the lyric, "I even got the underground shit that you did with Scam." This lyric flies over most casual listeners' head, with only hardcore fans knowing of the track's existence. Trife Thieves. Trife Thieves is another 1998 feature of Eminem, this time off the debut EP of Bizarre titled Attack of the Weirdos. Bizarre is a lifelong friend of Eminem and a member of D12, so his feature on the track isn't surprising, but it's still interesting to see that he was rapping with Bizarre way before his fame. Booed off stage. This entry refers to several different occasions where Eminem was booed off stage in his early career. The most well-known is this early video of Eminem being booed off stage, with
Alright, everybody in the crowd. Fuck that honky, fuck that honky, fuck that honky, let's fuck that honky, come on, fuck that honky, let's fuck that honky, fuck that honky, let's fuck that honky. Living idiots, battle the battles, idiots, bring us to the back, but enough the battle, put on the paddle, the prettiest, the fuck, look at quick as hat, don't suck at them bucks, second teeth, teacher hanging nuts up, and I'm about to take my look a bit, I'm beautiful, that's my moment, got my booty full of confidence to the chick, so you just forgot the wrong trick, cause I got diarrhea, fucking honky, so gotta make it.
Korn music video. Eminem's first major music video appearance came from Korn in 1998, with the song Got the Life. At the very end of the music video, you can see a blink and you miss it cameo from Eminem partying in the crowd. Many people believe that this was Eminem's first music video appearance, however there is one that came before this. Doodah Dippity. Doodah Dippity is a song from the Detroit-based rapper Champtown, which according to IMDb came out in 1993. The video features several shots of a young Eminem just kinda standing around and cheesing for the camera. You can find the official video on YouTube still, however it's very low quality and hasn't even passed 100,000 views. And speaking of Champtown. Champtown is a Detroit-based rapper with some legitimate bragging rights, as he's been associated with plenty of famous Detroit-based acts. One of the acts he worked with was Eminem in the early 90s. The two were friendly, but for an unknown reason had a falling out. It's rumored this falling out came from Champtown trying to make out with Kim, which was all recorded. However, this hasn't been confirmed. It's believed that in response to this, the Soul Intent group created Fucking Backstabber, which is said to be about Champtown. Champtown is still around today and has posted plenty of early footage of Eminem with the rest of Soul Intent. Rough Demos 97. Rough Demos 97 is a 1997 Eminem demo tape which is said to contain leftover tracks from the Slim Shady EP. According to Discogs, this tape was extremely limited with only 5 copies being made, all handwritten by Eminem himself. It goes without saying that this tape is highly valuable and could easily fetch some serious coin from a collector. Slim Shady Demo 97. The Slim Shady Demo 97 is another 1997 demo tape from Eminem. It's said that this tape featured early versions of tracks which ended up on the Slim Shady LP. The tracks include I'm Shady, Come On Everybody, Any Man, and Rock Bottom. It's also rumored that the version of Rock Bottom on this tape is a demo version, which was actually recorded on the day of Eminem's unaliving attempt. Fuck off. Kid Rock is a well-known Detroit-raised country artist, but one thing that people are unaware of is that he got his start doing hip-hop. In fact, his official record label debut, Devil Without a Cause, was a hip-hop nu metal fusion, and it just so happens that track 12 of the explicit version of this album features Eminem. That's right, Eminem has done nu metal. All jokes aside, Eminem and Kid Rock knew each other during both of their come-ups, and have remained somewhat friendly with one another over the last few years. Kid Rock was even featured in the music video for Berserk, showing that there is some sort of respect between the two. However, his recent political stances may have thrown a monkey wrench into this friendship. My Balls. My Balls is a lesser-known D12 song made for the Longest Yard soundtrack. Eminem and the rest of D12 rap about being in a football game, chock full of references to the male genitalia. The song is another great comedic song from D12 and encompasses basically everything D12 is. D12 would also have a small appearance in the Longest Yard during the basketball court scene. King Gordy promo. King Gordy is a Detroit-based horrorcore rapper who's been rapping since the early 2000s. Gordy was signed to Eminem's first major label, Web Entertainment, and for that reason, he was given a small role in the movie 8 Mile. He played the role of Big O, who is seen being interviewed during the scene where Eminem finds his best friend getting it with his girl. Eminem also produced several tracks off of King Gordy's first album, The Entity, and is seen very briefly in an early promo for King Gordy.
Who the fuck is King Gordy anyway?
King Gordy, hands down, is the fattest burger killer in all of the world.
Well, fat ass eat some?
King Gordy is known for saying some really off-the-wall shit, and is still rapping to this day. Honestly, I really only included this because I'm a big fan of King Gordy. The Devil's Night mixtape. In 2015, it was announced that D12 would be releasing a new mixtape, The Devil's Night mixtape. The mixtape was also said to feature Eminem. Fans were excited for the reunion of Eminem and D12, but upon release, Eminem was notably absent from the project. Fans were disappointed in the lack of Shady, but just a few hours later, the mixtape was re-uploaded and featured a brand new intro, which was a 2-minute acapella track of Eminem barraging the listener with devilish acts. Eminem would even tweet out the mixtape after adding his verse. He produced a Tupac album. Loyalty to the Game is a 2004 posthumous album of the legendary Tupac, produced by Eminem. During an MTV interview, Eminem stated that he was so moved by Tupac's life that he wrote a letter to Tupac's mother asking her to produce his new Tupac album. She agreed and allowed Eminem to produce 3 songs for Tupac Resurrection and the entirety of Loyalty to the Game. The Anthem. The anthem is a 1999 track from Sway and King Tech. Some of you may be familiar with Sway from Sway in the Morning on Shade 4-5, and in 1999, he and King Tech were able to create this track which features several notable MCs. Besides Eminem, the Audible Onslaught also features RZA, Exhibit, KRS-One, Tech-9, and several other highly respected artists. Prank Call Record. Eminem is known for being a prank caller and has made use of prank calling on several occasions. And if you go down the rabbit hole of Eminem prank calls, you'll find this Prank Call Record, which is a vinyl record of nothing but prank calls. This album is really obscure with hardly anything known about it, and Discogs even lists it as an unofficial release. Shady National Convention. The Shady National Convention was a 2004 MTV special made to promote Eminem and Shade 4-5. The event was a mock campaign rally which saw Eminem performances and skits along with celebrity cameos. The main thing people remember about this special is the appearance of one Donald Trump, who gave the opening speech and introduced Slim Shady to the people. In the speech, Trump endorsed Eminem and even said that Slim Shady is a winner. Eminem has gone on to say he regrets the appearance, knowing what Donald Trump would become. The Lost Britney Spears Notebook. Back in 2000, Eminem lost a Britney Spears notebook which was said to be filled with lyrics. The said Britney Spears notebook is possibly the same notebook shown during a segment on the Up in Smoke tour documentary. Eminem wanted this notebook back so bad, he set up a toll-free number and an email address for anyone to freely contact with information on the notebook. Unfortunately, the notebook was never found. The Anime Album. In 2008, an unofficial remix album was uploaded online, taking classic verses from Eminem's songs and putting them to popular anime music. The official name of the mixtape is Hellbound Presents Eminem The Anime Album. Honestly, it's pretty good for what it is. Anime fans should definitely check it out because it'll make you smile or laugh at the very least. And what's crazy about this album is that it's actually received some pretty good reviews. Performing Kim live. During a 2020 interview with Eminem's ex-wife Kim, Kim talks about the night she tried to unalive herself and what led up to the attempt. She stated that while in attendance at an Eminem concert, he announced to the crowd that she was in attendance. He then brought out a blow-up sex doll and began to do offensive acts on the doll, with the crowd cheering and laughing the entire time. And after this skit, he would perform Kim live. She says that made her leave the concert, go home, and slice her wrists. This part of the interview has spawned a debate online as to whether this actually happened or not. Some people say that she confused this with the classic Eminem segment of him bringing out sex dolls of ICP. However, I personally find it hard to believe that she would confuse ICP dolls with a doll of her. Additionally, no video of this sex doll sketch of Kim has ever appeared online, but there is audio of what sounds like Eminem performing this exact skit.
I want to talk to y'all for 1 second. Listen. I know that a lot of you probably have heard or read in the papers that I've been having some little marital problems or whatever with my wife, Kim. But I'm here to tell you tonight that shit is all good between me and my wife. Matter of fact, we got my wife. Yo, bring my wife out. Where's Kim? We got Kim here tonight. We got Kim right here. Oh, shit. Meaning me, what the fuck is going on, dog?
You know why you ain't married, brothers? Because I'm fucking your biatch.
Hey, yo, give me my bitch, dog. God damn. Kill that bitch.
Still, it's never been proven he's ever performed the song live, and this one is open for debate.
Kim's unaliving attempt.
Apart from the unaliving attempt mentioned on the prior entry, Kim again attempted to unalive herself in 2021. It's reported that the day after her mother unalived, that Kim was found at her home in a distraught state. And who could blame her? Officials restrained her and took her to a local hospital. The entire situation is heartbreaking to say the least. Dear Marshall. Dear Marshall is one of 2 tracks on the 2000 CD, Set the Record Straight, from obscure rap group IDX. The track features Eminem's mother reading off a letter for her son over a beat. The letter is her response to Eminem, and basically is her response to all the criticism she got from her son up until that point. It's not really clear why or how IDX got a hold of this song, however, Eminem would later mention the CD on the song Cleaning Out My Closet, with the lyric, "Wasn't it the reason you made that CD for me, Ma? so you could try to justify the way you treated me, ma. MCMM. MCMM is the earliest known rap name for Eminem. Early songs with the Soul Intent group show Eminem credited as MCMM. Shady XX. Shady XX was a rumored album which was supposed to be the 20th anniversary celebration of Shady Records. In 2020, a graphic designer named Mike Saputo posted unused logos for Shady XX, which he said he made for the upcoming album. However, Paul Rosenberg would respond to these posts on Twitter, saying that the logos were created for a vinyl box set, which was eventually scrapped. Paul would have no reason to lie about this, so I think it's safe to say that there was never a planned Shady XX compilation album. The Funeral. The Funeral is another rumored album from 2005. A lot of the information I could find online should be taken with a grain of salt since there was no sources. However, Eminem.net stated that The Funeral was meant to be a double album, which featured all three of Eminem's characters: Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers, and Eminem. The album would ultimately be the death of each character, which would allow Eminem to reinvent himself. Other than some supposed tracks, not much else is known about this album. Relapse iPhone game. Relapse Resistance was a 2009 game for iPhone and iPod meant to promote the album Relapse. The game was a scroller which saw you play as Eminem, where you had to escape a rehab center while fighting off zombie-esque creatures. The game was on the App Store for 99 cents, and other than a handful of YouTube videos, not much is known about the game. It is believed that it was removed from the App Store due to a gory nature. This game could rightfully be considered lost media, as there's no way to play it and virtually zero information about it online. We need to get Nick Robinson on this one. Giraffes. So, it's said that Eminem is afraid of giraffes. This stems from a behind-the-scenes interview from the Not Afraid music video. He's asked if there's anything he is afraid of, to which he responds, giraffes, and says he just doesn't like their necks. His dad's letter. In 2001, Bruce Mathers, otherwise known as Eminem's father, attempted to contact his son through a public letter. This letter was published in an issue of The Mirror. The letter is a great read as Bruce describes how much he loved being the father of Eminem. He stated that Eminem's mother abandoned him and took baby Marshall with her, amongst tons of other stuff. It's worth a read for anyone who wants to go down the rabbit hole, but ultimately Eminem would never respond. Kulo. Kulo is the man responsible for most of the Eminem leaks that happened in the late 2000s to early 2010s. Kulo ran a leak website which posted tons of Eminem songs before anyone else. You can find a lot of people talking about the legendary Kulo online, and I even found a Reddit AMA with someone who claimed to be Kulo. The individual claimed to have had conversations with Paul Rosenberg and even had the opportunity to speak with Eminem. Eminem also spoke about the leaker in a phone call which was believed to be aimed at Kulo.
But I always bought the artists that you know what I'm saying? I always supported the artists that I liked. I always bought a Tupac CD, a Biggie CD, a Jay-Z CD. You know what I'm saying? I always did that shit. I'm sorry, but if you can afford a computer, you can afford to pay $16 for my fucking CD. And whoever put my shit on the internet, I want to meet that motherfucker and beat the shit out of him. Because I picture this scrawny little fucking dickhead going, oh, I got Eminem's new CD, I got Eminem's new CD. Let's put it, I'm gonna put it on the internet. And I think that anybody that tries to make excuses for that shit is a fucking bitch.
Since then, Kulo has disappeared and hasn't been heard from since. Eminem. Eminem is a really bad creepypasta story of someone who found an album titled Eminem at a store, and when he listened to it, he heard a lot of weird shit. It kind of became a meme amongst Eminem fans, and if you haven't read it, you really should. I don't want to spoil the creepypasta here for those who haven't heard it, so let's move on. Esham Beef. Esham is a Detroit-based rapper known for his horrorcore style, and is considered an originator of the acid rap genre. Eminem mentioned Esham on the song Still Don't Give a Fuck, seemingly as a nod to the rapper. However, later in the song Kill You, he would say, I ain't acid rap, but I rap on acid. Esham apparently took offense to Eminem brushing off acid rap, and as a response would release the song Chemical Imbalance. The track referenced Eminem's daughter Haley, who wasn't even 10 yet, falling into a coma. Later, D12 was a part of Warped Tour, which coincidentally also included Esham and his group Nadas as part of the same tour. D12 would jump Esham and Nadas in what is said to be a pretty brutal beatdown. And later on, it's said that Esham tried one more time to jump Proof, but it went down basically the same as the first. Yeah, Proof beat the shit out of Esham. Since then, Esham has taken several more jabs at Eminem, but it seems like the beef is dead from Eminem's side. Esham still makes music to this day, and despite these altercations, can still be considered a legend in his own right.
The Black America Mixtape.
The Black America Mixtape is a bootleg Eminem mixtape released by Stackhouse Recordings, released in 2009. The unofficial mixtape features some low-quality remixes of various Eminem songs and even completely bootlegged Eminem material. The major reason this album is remembered is the graphic album art, which features Eminem being killed by members of the KKK, and is complete with burning crosses and a burning American flag. Some of these remixes are on YouTube, but I couldn't find the entire mix anywhere online. There are physical copies of this CD, with one being sold on Discogs in 2018. If you have one of these OG releases, please contact me, and I would love to work out a deal.
Run Your Jewels.
Run Your Jewels is a mostly lost Eminem song which didn't make it to Infinite. The track was unknown until 2016, when a snippet of the song was found on a rare sampler cassette for Infinite and uploaded to YouTube. I tried to stay away from using tracks out of fear of copyright, however I feel as if I'm safe to use this one, so here's the rare snippet uncut.
Little things start to trouble me, pressure me and bother me. This shit is stressing me, especially the poverty. I always wondered what my destiny would offer me. My only guess will be accessory to robbery.
This 12-second sample is the only bit of the song that has ever surfaced and is considered to be lost media. It's probably sitting somewhere on a floppy disk just waiting to be discovered.
The Kneel.
In 2018, D12 rapper Kaniva tweeted out a story about Eminem, which was supposedly how he communicated to each member of D12 that their verses were cut from a specific song. Apparently, if Eminem kneeled before you during playback of a song, it meant that your verse was cut, and he would tell you exactly why the verse didn't make it. Kaniva went on to explain that he got the kneel on the song American Psycho, and saw rappers ready to fight Eminem for getting the kneel.
Shady Tales.
Shady Tales was supposed to be a 3D horror film produced by and starring Eminem. It was also going to be produced by John Davis, who produced the Dr. Dolittle movies, and would even star other popular rap actors. Alas, the movie seems to be stuck in developmental hell with not much else known about the movie.
Rodri the Great.
So a few years back, users of the genealogy website Genie were able to link Eminem to a 9th century king of Wales. Welsh King Rodri the Great is 32 generations ahead of Eminem, making him his 33rd great-grandfather.
I can't really say this one, but you see it on the screen.
This song's a forgotten Eminem song from the Slim Shady EP, which didn't make it to the Slim Shady LP. Many consider this to be a great example of his storytelling ability, and some would even say it's one of Eminem's best songs. It's safe to say that the community consensus surrounding this song is that this is his most underrated song, period.
Daddy Warbucks.
Prior to Eminem's birth, his mother Debbie was in a band named Daddy Warbucks alongside Bruce Mathers. Little is known about this band, but they were said to tour the Dakotas-Montana border playing at local Ramada Inns. No music has ever been recovered from the band as of yet, and it's unknown if they ever released any sort of media.
The Way I Am featuring Marilyn Manson.
This entry refers to a remix of the popular song The Way I Am, which features backup vocals from Marilyn Manson. The standard version of the song mentions Manson, who also appeared in the music video. However, this official remix actually features Manson. The two have performed the song live, however, even plenty of hardcore Eminem fans are unaware of the song's existence.
The Lost Puzzle Game.
On May 14, 2003, it was announced that Conspiracy Entertainment was developing a video game titled Mix TV Presents the Eminem Game for PC and PlayStation. The game was said to be a puzzle game consisting of 6 levels for the player to complete. The game would also include music videos and other bonus materials for players to unlock. The game was completed and even submitted to the ESRB 2 separate times. The standard version of the game would be rated T, with the uncut version being rated M. However, on July 28, 2003, Conspiracy Entertainment filed a lawsuit against the rapper for $5 million for pulling out of their deal. It's unknown how the lawsuit was settled, and no footage or images from the game have ever been shared publicly, thus making the game official lost media.
Bob the Builder.
So this is easily the best fact on this list. In December of 2000, Eminem's Stand reached the #1 spot on the UK charts before being dethroned by Can We Fix It from the legendary children's show Bob the Builder near the end of that same month. As a homage to the rapper, the Bob the Builder team produced a short video titled Eminem in Chainsaw Training. This short saw a Bob the Builderized version of Eminem being taught how to use a chainsaw from God himself, Bob the Builder. The video is also accompanied by a remix of The Way I Am, put to a Bob the Builder beat. We also see many characters from the show getting down to the song. Many people didn't believe the authenticity of the video, however the original uploader of said video was Paul Covella, and when you look it up, was actually part of the Bob the Builder team. Still, when the official release of this video was still a mystery, and many believe this was a side project for the animators who found some free time. This short video is one of the weirdest things you'll ever see, but is easily one of the best things ever because Bob the Builder is God.
New Jax.
New Jax is by all record the first Eminem project ever released. New Jax is supposedly his first rap group from all the way back in 1988, making Eminem only 16 years old on this project. This mixtape is still not listed on Discogs, but it's said to have been produced by Basement Productions. Eminem takes the entirety of track 2 titled Eat It, and if this album is an authentic 1988 release, Eat It can very well be the first official song of Eminem's. The full mixtape can still be found on YouTube.
DJ Butterfingers YouTube.
DJ Butterfingers was a member of the Soul Intent group and served as the group's DJ. In 2017, DJ Butterfingers joined YouTube and released some rare material from Eminem's Soul Intent days. The channel hasn't seen an upload in quite some time, but there are still 9 rare Eminem tracks on the channel and 1 additional video of DJ Butterfingers explaining why he started the channel at all.
Unaliving attempt.
So not much is known about this, but in 1996, Eminem attempted to unalive himself by overdosing on Tylenol. One article says that this was due to the commercial failure of Infinite and his first breakup with Kim. However, not much is known about this.
Marshall and Ronnie.
Marshall and Ronnie is said to be the earliest known Eminem recordings, which were most likely made sometime between 1982 and 1984. The tape features 3 songs, Operator, Cool It, and Boogie, and is said to be Eminem and his uncle Ronnie. The tape was shown in the 2009 documentary Diamonds and Pearls, with Ronnie's half-brother Tom Polkinghorne stating that Eminem was around 10 years old when the tracks were recorded. Marshall and Ronnie is easily considered the rarest Eminem release, and the original copy could easily go for an obscene amount of money. However, the chances of it ever surfacing are very slim.
Grew up on 7 Mile.
So this entry refers to an urban legend that Eminem didn't actually grow up on 8 Mile Road in Detroit, but rather grew up on 7 Mile Road. However, when you look up the address of his childhood home, which is depicted on the cover of the Marshall Mathers LP, you can see it was just a few streets over from 8 Mile. I personally feel like this means he lived on 8 Mile, but I don't know how people repping 8 Mile feel about this.
The Chaos Kid letter.
Chaos Kid was a member of the Soul Intent rap group, and as the story goes, it's said that he and Eminem worked closely together when Eminem was just starting out. The two even promised to one another that if one became famous, they would help out the other. After Eminem found his mainstream success, for whatever reason, he didn't keep his promise. Many people believe that this is what caused Chaos Kid to sell Foolish Pride to The Source, as either an act of revenge or even just for financial gain. The Source also published an interview with Chaos Kid, who was made to seem like an enemy of Eminem. Several years later, Chaos Kid put out 2 letters addressing Eminem, once in 2009 and once again in 2010. These letters can be found online in full, and they're really interesting but also very depressing. Amongst several topics, the most interesting to me is that Chaos Kid suggested that The Source misrepresented him in the original interview, and the only reason he did the interview was to clear up the controversy surrounding the Foolish Pride tapes. Just a year after the second letter, James Deal, aka Chaos Kid, took his own life at the age of 37. Eminem did not attend the funeral and has never commented on the Chaos Kid.
Blackface.
Lord Jamar was a part of the hip-hop group Brand Nubian and has transitioned to podcasting in the last few years. He's had a very public beef with Eminem for many years now, with both parties firing shots at one another in the public eye. As part of this beef, Lord Jamar posted a picture on his Instagram of Eminem wearing a Will Smith mask, and followed it up by asking why he would wear a, quote, blackface mask. He also goes on to ask, what gave the white boy the right to wear it? However, upon some research, I found a video of Eminem wearing the same mask while accepting the MTV award for Best Album, stating that MTV told him to keep it clean. Personally, this seems like a bit of a reach, as Lord Jamar continually tries to make something out of nothing, especially when it comes to Eminem.
And finally, he's said the N-word.
Although people have regularly said that Eminem has never used the N-word, the truth is he's used it on numerous occasions. Most of these times were live performances, with him playing the hype man. 2 notable cases of this was first with Dr. Dre, with a bootleg recording of a live performance. We hear Eminem say,
"You lay low, son, and if you're feeling me, holler back." If you still a nigga, holla back. Woo! I can see you people where you at. I can see you nigga where you at.
The second case is a live performance with Royce da 5'9", where Eminem seems to use the word several times throughout the performance.
Cash in kids, I gotta dish you. My niggas be cocking pistols. Shots 6%, y'all niggas is just pretend. Clicks with click, pussy niggas stick with dick. Niggas act bully, my order was fully. Plenty of niggas practicing me. Speak dark, show you can pay, rhyming about it.
However, his use of the N-word isn't only delegated to live performances, as the most damning record of Eminem saying the N-word was released on the 2004 Source Magazine CD issue 173, which we discussed during the Benzino Beef entry. This CD featured a 36-second snippet of an early Eminem song from 1993, titled So Many Styles.
Kick a hyperspheric every time I run up on a track. You know I'm not whack, you have to step back, cause if you don't, I prove that I'm the Mac. Every time I kick the lyric, tune it to 295. Yo, do you find me live? If you don't, then that's alright, cause I just grabbed the microphone and I just gotta get so hype. But speaking of hypertone, and so many times I might get thrown. And here's the place where I like to roam. And all the girls that I like to bone have the big butts. No, they don't, cause I don't like that nigga shit. I just here to make a bigger hit. When I be kicking, the hypest, dopest rhymes to say that Eminem is the best MC in all times.
This snippet is believed to have been sold to the Source by the Chaos Kid. So that was it. The official Eminem Iceberg explained. If you made it through the entire thing in one sitting, you need a life. Nah, I'm just kidding. Thanks a lot for watching the entire thing, and I hope you learned at least one new thing. This was a lot of work, but it was really fun to make, and I want to do more of these Iceberg videos down the line. So if you made it through the whole video, you might as well subscribe. I got a lot of other stuff on the channel that you can watch right now, because it's free. If you think I missed something or put something on this iceberg in the wrong spot, please let me know in the comments below. And make sure to argue with other people in the comments over who is the biggest Eminem fan. And until next time, I love you guys. Gosh, how dare you think that Eminem's Christopher Reeve beef is actually that known? Oh, foolish pride. Oh, foolish pride. Oh, foolish pride.